Mm.
Yes, people, welcome back to Albert JTV match preview time. The big one. Well, I say the big one. Maybe the fixtures lost a bit of glamour over the years, let's just say. So yeah, Man United versus Arsenal. As you can see, I'm not alone. I have a special guest, my fellow gooner, my homie. It's about time we got to work together, Ollie, man.
It was good. It was good, people.
Where can the guys find you, your channel and your content, my friend?
The social is Arsenal Ollie 17. You know what I mean? Just follow the team. You know what I mean? You know, people have been saying sign the team, but follow the team. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, it's good to get you on, man. It's been a while in progress. It depends on people's availability and whatever. But no, I put the call out to you, and you came coming, my friend. So I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the support and everything else, man.
Of course.
So yeah, we're gonna get into this. So, guys, like I said, guys, if you're watching this for the first time, smash the subscribe button, hit the like button, get me on the road to 200. But I'm gonna start it, Ollie. I'm gonna talk about before we come on to the Man United Arsenal game. Sorry. I want to get your thoughts briefly on the game against Dundalk, and more so, I want to sort of concentrate on the fringe players. So, i.e., the likes of Willock and Nketiah, kind of, and Ainsley Maitland-Niles more so this season, and Reece Nelson. What did you make of their performances, and also, do you think any players have given Arteta a headache in terms of playing themselves into the team for tomorrow?
Oh, I'll tell you what though, that's a great question, because I mean, obviously you look at the likes of Willock, obviously controlled the game against Dundalk. Yes, it was only Dundalk, so obviously, with that sort of in mind, I guess you can't read too much into it, but he showed the quality that he possesses. We all know he's got the talent. It's there for all to see. Probably in terms of playing themselves into the team and as a whole for tomorrow, he probably, I guess, given Arteta the most headache, because obviously you look at the Arsenal team currently lacking creativity. I'm not saying he could be that guy, but he's definitely got the talent, and obviously he's got the the ability to be able to I guess, without mentioning the current number 10 that we have, obviously, with the, everything that comes in, with that. I think I would say out of the ones you mentioned, definitely Willock. Whether because obviously the short turnaround of games, with coming fast. Obviously, we've got a Europa League game next week as well against Mull at home. And to be fair, they all played really well, because obviously, let's be honest, I think it took them a while to get going. The whole team, that is, not just sort of I guess individuals, but for the main point, I guess for the main point that was mentioned, I would only be personally myself, only because I really, really like the player himself, Joe Willock. I'd be only really considering him, bearing in mind the players that we have to come back into the side as well. Obviously, the likes of Lacazette that was on the bench, or Aubameyang that was on the bench, know, and whatnot. Yeah. What about yourself?
Ollie, see with Willock, I was going to ask you in terms of him. Like, for me, I've said it on my channel loads of times. I see it within the Arsenal fan base. With Willock, you've got a lot of people that say he won't make it. You've got a lot of people that say give him a chance. I think my own personal opinion on Joe Willock, if I'm being my harshest, which is not that harsh really, but he frustrates me in the sense that he does the opposite of what he's supposed to do. So when he's supposed to pass, shoots. Passes, and when he's supposed to, the opposite, you know what I mean? So he's very frustrating. Although I thought he played all right the other night, there were still moments I watched and I thought, why, like, when there's parts when you're, as a midfield player, you have to make that critical, quick decision to make the right decision. And to me, there's a lot of times last season, even a little bit under Emery, where he doesn't do that. Do you think that's more of a thing of, did Mikel Arteta have to coach that into him, or is it more of a case of it's more for Willock to take more responsibility to make those right decisions?
Do you know what? I think it's I'm not going to say it's something that's learned, because obviously, but I mean, it's something that can be learned, because obviously, as players develop, they develop at different sort of, I guess, a different stage. And with all the, I guess, academy product projects, or whatever you call them, some are maybe more, I guess, advanced than others. Obviously mentioning Nketiah, he's been given a lot of chances. He's not one of my. He's not one of my favourites. I'm not saying I'm a hater as such, but he's not one of my favourites, because in the same sense that I guess Willock may frustrate you at times.
Yeah.
And Nketiah's like that with me. I'm just kind of like, we see the guy's stats. The guy's stats for like the under-23s or the player development squad, or whatever they call it nowadays, are crazy. Obviously, you look at that, and obviously you can't. It's not played on stats as such, but obviously it's a different standard of football than making the jump to the first team from, I guess, like. But I'm glad you brought up Nketiah, because I actually agree with you. I'm the same. I don't know what it is. It's funny because when I look at English players, right, for example, and you get a lot of them that play well for their club, but they don't. Maybe it's the pressure of playing for the national team. They don't perform, but for him, it's the opposite way with him. When he goes with under 21, he's obviously something. He flourishes there, but I just think, for me, there was a lot of games last season, and a few games this season where, for me, the game passes him by. And it's like decision making again. I think even there's one incident, I can't remember, in the first half against Dundalk, where I don't know, would I say it's a half chance, but I don't know what he was doing, because I just thought that's a simple thing to just take a shot on your left foot and just smash it in. I don't know. I can see what type of striker he is, but of course,
I don't know. I just think myself, Arteta's got some mad faith in him, because fix him.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not in the slightest in terms of sort of knocking him, because obviously like you know as well as I do, players do watch your sort of social media, whether they watch sort of the But I mean, a couple of days ago, I think it was when Arsenal put out On This Day. They do it on this day like last year and stuff or whatever. It's like it's cool. It's cool because it's all history and stuff. The Granit Xhaka, when he told the fans to, do one or whatever, I put that, just shared that. I'm not sure if you see it. Maybe, you may have seen it on my story, and I was just like, we can maybe talk about that sort of another time. But with regards to, I think Nketiah, he just makes, you mentioned the game does pass him by, because I don't think he's as influential as perhaps he maybe wants to be, because obviously it's not for the lack of trying. Obviously he has got the let's say he's got the chops to for the job, but again, I think it goes back to the point that I made about, I guess, certain academy products being more, I guess, advanced. Again, not knocking them at all, because obviously you've got to have a certain amount, but I guess my thing is you can't always be solely reliant upon them. So it's like, you've got to have an even sprinkling of sort of, do you know what I mean? It's maybe it's certainly obvious a little bit, but you know what I mean? Obviously it's kind of, I guess it is what it is,
No, I get that. No, I think with Eddie, I think I've said before on my channel that I'm not going to obviously write him off. He's a young kid. At the end of the day, you know what it is, Ollie? We've had a lot of experienced players at Arsenal play for us for the last 3 to 5 years who haven't cut the mustard, and that's the experience point. So in the flip side of it, I get why you might give the likes of a Willock more of a run, or you might give Eddie more of a run, because, for example, quickly just touch on Lacazette very quickly. You know what it is with him, Ollie, right? It's mad because he's actually scored against all the big 6 rivals since he's been at Arsenal. But he's never hit 20 goals in the Premier League. He's never hit 20 goals this season, sorry. And to me, he misses strikers can miss chances. I understand that, but for me, he misses too many critical chances. And it's happened time and time again. So maybe Arteta might be looking at thinking, you know what? let me give Eddie a chance.
I mean, it
different.
It would be
loads of time. But yeah, I want to quickly touch on Reece Nelson's another one.
Mate,
I'll give you my thoughts before I come to you, my mate.
Yeah, of course, go on. Yeah.
One thing I said about Reece Nelson for me is he's. I'll be honest, he's probably the one Arsenal youngster academy product I've been looking forward to the most the last couple of years. But for me, I've said it before, he lacks the aggression of a Wilf Zaha, for example. But we saw it the other night where that's what I want to see from him. Yes, we can talk about the quality of the opposition, but what did you make of what did you make of Reece Nelson's performance? And two, why do you think Arteta's sort of been reluctant to use him at all, to be honest?
I think, do you know what? I think he's because obviously, you know, judging by sort of, I guess, his sole performance, it was, as you mentioned, exactly what we needed to see from a player of his caliber. You know, because when obviously, I you know, much like yourself, never been sort of let's say excited for an academy product like Nelson, because I think, you know, when you obviously look at the likes of Saka, you know, he's well established now, you know, and it's been well documented. I was on the fence, probably shouldn't have been at the start, because obviously, much like a fan, you know, you want what's best for the club, you know, above all else. And I'm not saying I wasn't seeing that, but it just took me a little while longer to sort of actually like kind of deep what he actually does, and it's kind of like, you know. But he's gone from strength to strength, taking everything in his stride. Just, you know, at such a young age, it's to say it's like it's almost he's matured beyond his age, you know, sort of. But then obviously maybe in the current scenario, current situation, he's probably had to, because obviously being relied upon to play left back, then, you know, left mid, and then sort of left forward, you know, whatnot. But Nelson. Yeah, you know, obviously getting back to the main point, Nelson was, I think he was, from that run that, you know, when I think he took on quite a few players, like, I'm not sure if it's anything, but he, like, when he's one that, you know, when you kind of when he gets the ball, you just think, you get off the edge of your seat.
100%.
He's, you know, he's exciting.
I want to see it more. Yeah, I want to see it more.
And I think also as well with, you know, obviously you mentioned Wilf Zaha as well, you know, obviously very much linked to the club, you know, he seems to be a constant sort of, I guess, he's an Arsenal fan, whatever. But, you know, I think, we could have that type of player in Nelson if he just believed a little bit more.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, I think a lot of it is down to belief, you know, because obviously these youngsters, they obviously see the likes of, you know, Pepe, they see Willian in the first team and stuff, you know, and whatnot. And they think, right, I've got a massive, you know, I've got like a proper level to meet, you know, and maybe not so much it's unfair, because obviously there's nothing, I guess, nothing fair in terms of life, but there's nothing fair in terms of, like, you know, you can't go through your life thinking like, oh, you know, he's miles better than I am. You've got to, you know, just kind of adapt and obviously, you know, reach that level, because you know, these academy players are very much capable of doing so. But belief is a massive, massive thing. You know, it's
100%.
Often stops, you know, but from the performance itself, I mean, you know, we played a lot of the, I guess, the second string, if you will, and they came through eventually. You know, obviously it took a little while to get going, but, you know, them 3 goals come real quick. So, you know, within the space of eight or so minutes, you know, we went from probably not so much not looking like scoring, but obviously, you know, getting the win, and it was an important win as well. You know, it's setting up obviously not so much an easier route, you know, through to, I guess, the next round, but, you know, but
no, fair points, man. No, you're right. With Nelson, it's just, you just want to see it more, man. You think this guy's got it in the locker, man, but you're right, it is a belief thing, but it's also, I think Arteta has a decision to make in terms of, you know, when do I give this guy more minutes? Do I believe in this guy? Do I trust this guy to be? Can I put him ahead of a Pepe or a Willian? I hope Reece Nelson gives him that headache, because I saw a tweet the other day. Actually, it's interesting. I can't remember the name of the guy. I think with one of the Facebook groups or Twitter, and he said he's quite a blunt Arsenal fan. He said people won't want to have this conversation, but Nelson, I think he's basically saying Nelson should probably possibly be ahead of the team ahead of Pepe. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I can understand why he said, people won't want to have that conversation, because a lot of fans don't. It's as you've rightly mentioned, it's an unpopular opinion. But to be fair, you don't get anywhere having popular opinions massively. I'm not saying to go out and just sort of disagree with everything, but within reason 100%. Of because I think when we bought Pepe, for me, like for one, obviously, much like everyone, following social media, and obviously seeing who's coming in, or I guess prospective who's coming in.
Yeah,
it came out of relatively nowhere. Me personally, it might have just been because the accounts I was following, perhaps they were just a little bit behind or whatever. But that's that's. It's, to be fair, I mean, I have obviously much like yourself, you narrowed it down to sort of the the best or the better accounts. But the main point, I've always said, I mean, I've said a couple of times on my channel about when Pepe was bought.
Yeah.
I don't think people realised too much where his best position is, because I think actually, with Lille, he was playing down the middle quite a bit.
Yeah.
Whether that was circumstantial, just because they needed, I guess, a striker. Well, to be fair, he showed that he can do it, because obviously he was banging it. That I guess that form got him to move to Arsenal as such, and obviously talent. Obviously everything that goes in between. But what I mean, it's he's exciting, but again, almost like
it's hard. I'm actually glad you brought him up, because I wasn't actually going to bring him up, but I'm glad we sort of went into it, because I'm going to come on to Maitland-Niles. I want to talk about Pepe briefly. You made some good points. I mean, I wasn't I'm not going to sit here and chat rubbish or chat shit. I wasn't aware of Nicolas Pepe. I mean, everybody looks fantastic on YouTube clips, isn't it?
Well, that's it, because they just show you the highlights. You know what I
mean? He played in a completely different system at Lille. Then obviously coming to Arsenal. But I think when we talk about Pepe, when I did on my podcast show, big shout out to Gunnar Richby and JC from Arsenal Family, because they was on it, and I said 2 players I'm looking forward to seeing play at the start of the season was Bukayo Saka, and the other one was Pepe, because I thought, particularly in the big games at the back end of last season, in a defensive kind of way against Liverpool in the league at the Emirates, Pepe is quite disciplined. In the semi-final and the final of the FA Cup, we saw, I think Arsenal fans for the first time saw why we possibly spent the money that we did for this player, because he was outstanding. So I thought, okay, you've had your season in English football, you've had a bit more time to adapt.
Yeah.
Where I will slightly defend Nicolas Pepe, because I would have given, if someone said to me, what do you give him out of 10 for his first season, I would have given him a 6. I think there's plenty of times where, for me, he flattered to deceive. And one of the things where he would annoy me, I'll be honest, right?
Yeah.
Like, have a bloody shot at goal, man. Like, you can't keep sending man for dreams and twisting him up and doing it twice and doing it 3 times. Like, have a shot, man. Like, you got the ability, but pull the trigger, like, shoot. But so I'm looking forward to seeing him play this season. But like I said, sticking up for him slightly, his first Premier League start was against Man City.
Yeah, so it's it's not ideal in the slightest, really.
But where I will criticise him is when he did come on for the cameo performances he did come on for, he absolutely flattered to deceive, man.
Yeah.
Again, that might be a confidence thing.
It could be.
And I think what you got to bear in mind with Pepe, with Arteta, is Pepe wasn't Arteta signing, was he?
No, of course. So yeah, there's definitely that. That's a great point. Very well made.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember saying about Pepe, this guy, he doesn't like, people say he's the only reason why he's got a right foot is to stand on it. And then he goes and smashes in that goal the other night in the Europa League. This guy, man, but he's got the ability. Like, it's mad. Look at the goal against Sheffield United, man.
Yeah.
Like, so I want to see more from him. But yeah, I want to come on to Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I'll tell you why I want to bring him up, Ollie, mainly, right? Because there was a lot of hoo-ha in the summer. Well, should I say summer? Like the 10-week transfer window, call it. Arsenal fans some of them were going into meltdown, and we shouldn't sell him. And you want to keep him, and we've come into this season, and he hasn't really featured.
No.
I'm not a massive fan of Hector Bellerin, but that's another whole topic, another day.
Fair enough. Nice. That's right.
Maitland-Niles comes in on Thursday. In my personal opinion, I thought he was awful. I think his passing was. That's one thing I do question sometimes when I see him play when he comes in. He's passing for a professional footballer, man. Come on, man. Like, I'm not talking about hitting Hollywood passes or 50-yard diagonal passes. I'm talking about simple A to B passing and lackluster. And I just think if for the Arsenal fans that have wanted him to be in the team, and then he comes in and he puts in that performance.
Yeah. To be fair,
I want to say, what did you think of his performance the other night? And probably more so, really, like your thoughts about him generally, obviously taking into account the possible links with him leaving, and then he stays. And does Arteta even trust him in the team? Well, he must do.
I mean, to be fair, that you mentioned Hector Bellerin and obviously your thoughts and stuff like that for another video. That's something that I'd be actually really, really interested to, obviously, we'll take up another time. But because without not just sounding sort of, I guess for purposes of the video or whatever, but I thought he's been really good this year so far. But again, we've
another time, man.
No, of course, we could be here for hours. You know what I mean? But with regards to Maitland-Niles, I think he's the I guess the versatility that he brings. Aside from everything, obviously, you have to look at the ability, which I don't think anyone's massively. I mean, to say to my knowledge or to that I've seen, his performance against Dundalk was one that kind of left you wondering. I'm not being it might come across very. No, because it kind of made you think, how is this guy a professional?
Yeah.
Like, and obviously obviously again, I hold my hands up. He's now an England international. I've been calling for that for a long while, much like most fans as such. Obviously definitely of us, like of the Arsenal family as such. But just looking at it, obviously for the bigger picture, you said obviously you mentioned about does trust him, because obviously ultimately he has to put players on that pitch that he knows are going to put in the performances. Is Maitland-Niles up to scratch? I mean, bearing in mind obviously age and obviously everything that, as you mentioned, in the summer linked with moves to, I think it was Wolves,
Newcastle rumoured as well at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't believe the Tottenham link. I thought that was bullshit.
No, I don't. As soon as it came out, it was like, bro, he won't. I don't think he would have. I don't think he would have introduced or even give it the time of day. Do you know what I mean? I'm not, again, no disrespect to that lot, but from. He's, with the academy products and everything, and as mentioned even before, different players are at obviously different stages of their career, and I think he's now at a stage where he's probably slightly more advanced than I guess not the lesser lot, but the sort of ones that are coming, the younger guys as such. When I can't say I would pick him above certain other players as such, but then again, that's certainly not to no discredit. It's no disrespect at all. It's just I'm not coming on here to try and be sort of on the fence, but trying to sort of maintain.
Do you think Maitland-Niles will touch on like team lineups? But do you think?
Of course.
Do you think he will start tomorrow? Because Arteta. Before you answer that, because I think whether Ainsley's resigned to the fact that he's a utility player, but he does play in the big games.
This is true.
He'll start tomorrow.
I think with the point you made, about being a utility player, I think that's obviously perhaps playing on his mind. Whereas as you did mention, he does start. He does tend to get the starts. He gets the nod over sort of the, I guess what you'd say, the more experienced.
Yeah.
But I don't see him. Maybe I may be wrong, but I think I see him taking I guess, a place up on the bench because, obviously the likes of Bellerin are going to come back in. We obviously know. Obviously, we'll touch on sort of lineups and stuff a little bit. Whatever. But yeah, point being, I think he's below the pecking order, but not for the reasons maybe others think or whatever. But ultimately, my honest opinion, I think he will stay because I think Arteta has enough faith in him to keep him around. And I think obviously was instrumental in maybe keeping him at the club because, I guess the Wolves link would have been somewhat appealing because obviously, he could have gone there and been a star in their midfield, alongside, Neves and whatever, Martinho, stuff like that.
I think if Wolves are part of the right money, I don't think he'd be an Arsenal player now.
No, that's it. And I think obviously they came in slightly. I think their evaluation was slightly lower.
Yeah. And
and obviously fair play to Arsenal for handling that situation the way they did. So there's not much else to say really apart from he'll probably be on the bench.
No, good to get your thoughts, but that actually leads us into United game, obviously, and I mean, tell me what do you think the starting 11 will be? Now, what I've done is I sort of did it yesterday on Richard's channel, but I thought I've got what I think Arteta will pick and team of what I would like to see. I mean, before you come in, I can tell you the team that I think I would like to see personally, and that takes into account if people are fit. But obviously, I don't know how definite it is unless you've heard something in the past 24 hours about David Luiz, but I think he may be out. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I think he's struggling to be fit. But if the players are fit, who I would go for, go for Leno in goal, obviously. I'll play a back four. Bellerin, Luiz, Gabriel, Tierney. I'll have a midfield three of El Neni, Partey, and Ceballos. And I would have my front three. And this will be my front three actually as of now and going into a few games, not just obviously taking into account tomorrow's game. Aubameyang down the middle, Saka on the left, and Pepe on the right. That's the team I would pick personally. But you know what? It's difficult with Arteta. I've said this so many times, man. And it's actually. I think it's probably a good thing. I can see the flip side of both, but I think it's a good thing in the sense that with Wenger towards the end of his sort of career, Arsenal, or maybe the last few years, to be fair, team lineups are very predictable. Play whether it's against the top six, mid-table teams, lower end of the league. You know who's going to play. You knew what the system would be. With Arteta, you haven't got a clue who he's going to pick. He always goes in a curveball. I mean, no one saw that coming in the semi-final of the FA Cup when he put Maitland-Niles at left wing back. That wants to be what they want to sit here and tell me and you, Ollie, that they knew that was going to happen. They're lying.
So, I mean, I'm still spinning.
So what do you? I was going to say. So what do you think the starting 11 will be, or whether you think is a team that you'd pick, or what you think Arteta's going to do?
Do you know what? I'll go on what I think he will do, and maybe kind of incorporate the two. But I think you know what? Because I've always been a fan of the front. I guess playing a back three per se. It may not be how we perform best, but then that's my own honest opinion. Sort of, much like yourself, I believe we perform better with a back four because it's maybe a back four.
I think we want to see that now, but it's difficult because, I mean, so at the moment, Holding's injured again as he always is.
Sick note.
This has bombed out the Premier League squad. David Luiz may be fit, not fit. Saliba, Arteta knows more than us.
That's the best way to say it.
And then obviously, Mustafi's coming back. So I'll let you can finish because I'll tell you what, I'm going to tick off the guys who I think Arteta's going to pick when you tell me who you think he's going to pick.
Okay, all right. I mean, from look at just obviously a quick, even though we touched on it before, but Runnison, I mean, in the Europa League, surprised me massively. I mean, because he was bought for such a small fee. I think it was 1.5 million, something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying obviously he's not even in, I guess, contention. He might pick up on the bench obviously, but Leno in goal obviously because he's our Premier League goalkeeper. Some would argue maybe he should be the goalkeeper as well, but with Runnelson's performance, it's up for debate. But back four, I think back four arguably when we're defending, but a back three when we're going forward. So kind of like. They're not full-backs, they're more wing-backs. Obviously,
so you play 3 centre-backs and then 2.
Yeah. I would go with so arguably a 5 at the back, but I know it sounds quite massively sort of, I guess, negative in many aspects. But Bellerin, because of I guess he's because of his performances thus far this year. I don't, everyone has their own opinions, and obviously very well entitled to. First of the centre backs. I mean, obviously, I would like to see. I know it's probably unlikely, and obviously, as you mentioned, Arteta knows a lot more than us. Obviously, he sees what the team does in training certain players. I think I'd like to see Saliba. I know it's a big game to obviously put him in, and obviously, you might get comments about, it's obviously the biggest of big. Defense. I mean, obviously Gabriel's got to be in there. I'd have him in definitely. With that being said, and I don't know how I guess fitness, everything in between is sort of what I would have liked to have seen was a back three of Saliba, Gabriel, and David Luiz, obviously, but David Luiz. Because I believe, obviously, I think personally they're our strongest centre backs as such, and obviously Tierney on the left, obviously as a left wing back. But then, obviously you could throw in the likes of maybe Mari, because obviously we haven't really seen much of him. He's been sort of injured and this and that. And
is he still injured, or is he working himself back into training? I don't know what the state of play of him is at the moment.
I think, the last I heard that I think he came back into training. Obviously, people can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he came back into some sort of contact training with Martinelli last Monday or the start of the last week. But with the midfield, much like yourself, go with, I think what it would be is a midfield 3, 2 holding midfielders, slightly different from yourself. I'd go with Xhaka and Partey because I believe they're our most experienced, and to say not necessarily to be saying like the number 10, but obviously it looks like either Ceballos or Willian will obviously get maybe a number 10, sort of that type of attacking mantle, I guess. And the front three, I think I'm going to go with more or less, I guess, expected. Aubameyang wide left, like playing from the left. Pepe playing from the right. And Lacazette down the middle. Because ultimately, making sort of reference to your point, he scored against all the big 6. So, I guess we'll be hoping for more of the same tomorrow. But I guess, obviously it's a different sort of, because we don't know the, obviously, the injuries and, latest as such, to an exact extent, but
So what I think Arteta will do, what I think he'll pick, depending if players are fit. I think the thing is, I get when Arteta's come in, he tried to make us a bit more defensively sound, but what that's done in turn is obviously make us less of an attacking threat. But the thing is, the thing I don't sort of understand is, and I think, Arteta's not, it's all right for Arsenal fans to criticize him, man. Like, he's not the Messiah. I've said that. Like,
of course,
he's done some questionable things. I take into account it's his first managerial job.
Of course,
make mistakes on the job, but there's some things I look at a question. But we have the attacking players there to cause a lot more damage than what we're doing now.
Of course.
It's great when you're playing a one-off cup game against City and Chelsea, and you set up defensively sound and you hit them on the counter attack. But A lot of Arsenal fans said this before the start of the season, that the issue is the creativity thing, and how are we going to bridge that gap? And as you've seen going into this season, it's been a huge problem. I think the big wake-up call game we actually had, Ollie, mate, was when we played West Ham at home. We should have lost that. West Ham would play much better than us if Antonio wasn't a bit more formal, although he scored anyway. And that for me was sort of a wake-up call to Arsenal fans to say we were sort of getting a bit, before the start of the season, I would say a little bit carried away. If you see my content, I said Arsenal won't get top 4. And I said that because if you don't, it's one thing getting in Thomas Partey, mate, but you've got to get the right tools around him. Otherwise, he's not going to be effective.
No, of course.
Just on the Leicester game where he's anonymous, you've got 3 midfielders playing in a straight line.
That's just it.
Yeah, but sorry, let me, before I go off subject a bit more. So Leno in goal, back 3, because we're not gonna go to United and open up, because they'll finish us off.
Easy.
Gabriel, Tierney, Bellerin right side, Saka left side, Xhaka, Partey. I've just got a feeling, Ollie, mate, you're going to start with Willian, Lacazette, and Aubameyang.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I mean, if that is the lineup, I'm not going to say, sorry to cut you off, like sort of just inadvertently jump in.
That's right, mate. Go on.
I think it's our most experienced lineup. Obviously, maybe on the lesser side, sort of with Saka in the team. But I mean, I'm certainly not knocking him. I think that it will be perhaps a surprise factor. So it could be a stroke of genius, or maybe not. But with obviously with the like as mentioned, the team with I guess that front 3, arguably somewhat a front 4, but front 3 mainly. They're our most experienced. So I think with all that being said, it's not because obviously you might have seen videos that I've put out sort of on my channel and whatnot, and I often say you don't know what Arsenal team are going to turn up, because if they turn up and I'm not saying obviously I say that in the best way possible, and obviously I mean it in the best way possible.
True, you don't know how they're going to turn up.
No, because they I mean, some performances last year, I mean towards the back end of last year, and obviously starting of this year, starting against City, not ideal. Obviously, I think we all kind of was resigned. Like as soon as that came out, it was a bit like, not again. But this, I mean, that particular 11, of players, it won't be. My point is you don't know what, as you've mentioned, you don't know what Arteta is thinking. You don't know, who he's, perhaps who's impressed in training, because at the end of the day, we're sort of.
Sorry to cut you off. So, do you think Arteta overthinks things?
That's a good question. I think arguably, I think most managers are a little bit guilty of that, and I think obviously him being new to management, he's more so probably guilty of that than most, because obviously I don't like to use, I guess, the not example, but you look at the likes of Mourinho, he would know how to set up for a game like this, because it's he would just, I'm not saying he will park the bus, but he maybe invites pressure on and then hopes to hit him with maybe the long ball, or whatever it may be. I think to your question, I think he does a little bit, but it's okay to do so.
Yeah,
maybe. I'm not saying because I'm expecting to start seeing results, much like yourself, and obviously Arsenal fans alike. He's
a bit more on the front foot, mate. Just take the team a bit more. At the moment, I feel he's got them. He's sending the players out there in a straitjacket. It's difficult because, well, I say difficult, but we've talked about Arsenal for years, Ollie, mate. Like Arsenal do not address when it comes to recruitment or sorting out the spine of the team, which we actually do have. Yes, it's quite new with obviously Leno in goal, Gabriel at the back, in the middle, and Aubameyang up front. We actually have a spine of a team. We've got probably a better squad of players, but we're playing worse football. I mean, like I said, I don't expect us to go to our OT tomorrow. We haven't won there since 2006 in the league.
That's do you know what? bro.
Yeah, 1-0 Adebayor, man. So it's a long time ago, mate.
Jeez.
You know, this record against the, yes, you want to beat the teams in and around you and lower than you and whatever, but that record, we need to lose that. Was it 29 games now without an away win against the top six? One, mate. 66 goals, I think, conceded. That's unforgivable.
Not good enough.
By come 6:30 tomorrow, 7:00 tomorrow, and we could have potentially lost to Leicester, Man City, Liverpool, and Man United.
And they're all teams above us.
Yeah. You know, so I don't know how he's going to do it. Like I said, he's got to loosen the straitjacket off these guys. So in regards to the Arsenal team tomorrow, Saka has to play, irrespective wherever he does play.
Oh, of course.
Our most creative outlet, really, in the team. And like I said, I fed it yesterday on Richard's channel. We're coming very one-dimensional, mate.
Big time.
If you're going to play a system in the way that you're trying to make us more defensively sound and you want to exploit teams with both fullbacks, it can't just be from one side of the pitch.
No, that's
it's got to come from both. United will see that. Most teams will see it when they come up against us, mate. We've got some, after United, we've got some tough fixtures coming up, bro.
Oh, no. Yeah, 100%.
Leeds, Tottenham's round the corner. Early
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I don't know. Yeah, it's Saka has to start just in terms of our creativity. I would say. I think because Arteta usually throws in the curveball. If I was to think of one player, and I think you spot on earlier when you talked about Willock. I think actually, because you know what it is with the problem with our teammate, where we don't really attack in the midfield very well. We have no runners going beyond the strikers.
No.
Like a type or a who's a good example? Just say a Ramsey type player that goes beyond the front three, that goes beyond the strikers, that makes the runs, that creates an extra body. We don't have that in midfield. So I could see a case for Willock, maybe even starting tomorrow. That might horrify some Arsenal fans, but
of course.
You need legs. That's why when I pick my team to start tomorrow, that I don't think I will pick that 100%. He won't pick that team, but the reason why I have an El Neni in is because he's more mobile. Xhaka being in the midfield, he because of his lack of mobility, hinders the midfield. And United you've got McTominay in there, you've got Fernandes, you've got Pogba in there. Guys are more mobile than him, so. And you're going to expose Partey if that's the case. But like I said, I don't think Arteta is going to pick that team, if I'm being honest with you.
I mean, to sort of, I guess, raise, not so much raise you, but as like to sort of, I guess, throw a question sort of your way, or, sort of where would you see, I mean, because we all know, I think, mainly the key areas of the, I guess, where the game perhaps may be won and lost is going to be in that midfield.
100%.
Because I think obviously if we can breach that midfield, it's like, if we can get past it, how frequently, obviously remains to be seen. But I have no issue obviously getting past it. But I know, like once we're past it, but when it's just obviously, I see it because obviously you mentioned their midfield so much more mobile than us massively. They're better players. Like, let's be honest. Let's just, the likes of, and you mentioned obviously, the, how to say it, when you said about exposing Partey, it's kind of, you don't want to be doing that because obviously that takes a massive part of, the midfield away. And I was speaking to my dad earlier on about it, saying, I guess wherever, well, obviously not pinpointing it, but wherever Fernandes is, you'd like to say, Arteta's got to say, one of those midfielders have got to be literally like not man marking him as such, because I don't believe that actually works. But I just sort of, what are your thoughts on sort of, I guess, like key areas? Obviously, the midfield is going to be massive for both teams, massively.
That is, I'm glad you brought that up, mate. That's good. That's a good question. It will be one there. That's why I personally wouldn't have Xhaka in there tomorrow. But
of course.
More than likely he will play. And I think where we can actually hurt United is in the wide areas. I don't potentially think they can hurt us They can hurt us in the wide areas, I would say, in terms of, for example, if they start with Rashford and Martial. But in terms of the fullback areas, I don't think they can hurt us.
No.
Because I think Tellez is out for United, I believe. I think he's got coronavirus, apparently, if that's true. So Luke Shaw will come in. And then you've got Wan-Bissaka on the right. Wan-Bissaka is the best one-sided defender in the right in the right of the league, 100%. But going forward, United had to tell you it doesn't offer anything. So that's where we can hurt them, but it can't be predictable. It's coming down from one side. It has to be from both sides of the pitch.
And that's
where, unfortunately, and it sounds crazy to say, mate, that's where our creativity is going to come from.
Yeah. I mean, as mentioned, it does sound crazy to say, because obviously not looking back, like even just looking back, I don't know, like 2 or 3 years, you always had that box-to-box player, as you mentioned, breaking, I guess, that the fourth line as such, or that, sort of getting behind just, as you mentioned, the extra body. Where that comes from in the current midfield, I guess you could probably not. I'm not going to say put it all on Sebados, but you could. He's put in a couple of good performances this year, which perhaps have maybe not surprised many, but definitely surprised myself more than. I guess more than
the other night against Leicester. From what I made it clear I didn't pay for the pay-per-view. I'm not paying for that. Sorry.
No, I didn't either. Not good. Massively. Yeah, do you know what I
mean? From what I see, in a lot of reaction in regards to, I think we'll do it another show in terms of coming out to play like a Bellerin and a Ceballos, because I've got my views very strong.
Cool, man. Yeah, that'd be good.
But I think you do make a good point about Willock. I actually think he could be, if I'm thinking of a surprise inclusion for tomorrow, it could be him. Because we don't have anyone that people might think, oh my God, but we don't have anybody that runs from deep. We don't have many ball carriers in the team. We don't.
Yeah, you're looking at sort of like I guess of late, not of late, but obviously ones that have sort of, I guess, departed the club. You look at like Aaron Ramsey. Gets the ball at his feet, just runs with it. Yeah. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, obviously, even before that, gets the ball just direct, straight.
We haven't.
No, and I mean, to your point, definitely wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't be not so much shocked as such, because obviously his performance in midweek was probably very, as we mentioned earlier on. For those obviously just joining or whatever, his performance in midweek was one of authority and one of he may have caused a little bit of a sort of a headache, maybe certainly, but the quick turnaround might be a little bit. I'm not saying they're not capable of playing 2 games in 1 week. Obviously we know these players are, they're as fit as anything, whatnot. I'd like to see it myself, but how realistic that is, obviously, you mentioned Arteta's. I mean, what goes on up there, only he will know. Which
it's true, only though, because you know what it is. When, for example, the Man City game, right? When we lost 1-0, we're 1-0 down, right? There's about 5-7 minutes to go. Where's the urgency? I mean, we brought on Lacazette, for example, right? And he's playing like in the withdrawn striker role. And I'm thinking, but we're 1-0 down. Like, the worst that can happen. Like, we lose 2-0. Like, we need to try and get in the game. We've kept reasonably compact, but even the other night we played Leicester, mate. We go 1-0 down. I think the goal just shook us, mate, because we didn't create anything after that. We didn't create anything at all, to be honest. Chase the game to get back in the game. Leicester have beaten us for 47 years in a home game. So it depends. I want to see them a bit more brave on the ball, man. Like, come on, you've got players there to do it, but again, it does come from the head coach, man.
Oh yeah, mate, 100%. Yeah, I totally agree with all the points.
I was going to say, with Arteta, just to ask you a question, and I've kind of seen it a little bit on social media. I do see. Forget the fact of whether you wanted Arteta or not. That's by the by. He's here. You don't understand. But
of course.
I think you're slowly starting to see. You might agree. There's a bit of rumblings there, and I think if the result doesn't go our way tomorrow, I think you're going to see a lot more stuff on the social media aspect of the Arsenal fan base. Do you agree, or do you think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, whether I think it's, I agree, but whether I think it's right, it's that's.
I'm slowly seeing it. I'm seeing the rumblings there a little bit.
The thing is, I mean, I don't know if do you know what? I'm on Instagram. I'm part of 2 like group chats. So I mean, you know, I'll get them to add you in, you know, maybe later on or whatever. You know, because you get an untold amount of notifications and whatnot. But obviously, you know, I'm not always active on it. But and they're all fans that are just still willing to give Arteta time, because ultimately, you look at Liverpool. I always use this massive, you know, that it's a massive example of giving a manager time. Like, you know, obviously Klopp. I'm not saying we're the blueprint that he had, but I think he had a worse team that he came into, and he's turned, you know, obviously Liverpool into. Me personally, probably. You know, it goes without saying. Obviously, they won the league last year, so they are categorically the best team in the league, and in the world at the moment. Because, you know, I guess going by trophies, Champions League and everything, whatnot.
Yeah.
Not played on paper as such, but you know, you look at it's that example of giving a manager time. I'm not saying, you know, we haven't got, or perhaps there's certain fans out there that say, oh, but we haven't got, you know, 5 to 7 years to give a manager. It's like, yeah, but ultimately you're not going to get a manager with results within 2 or 3 years. You know, I know like 2 or 3 years is a long time.
Not with the way Arsenal's been on and off the pitch. No, definitely not.
And obviously, you know, you make a good point there as well, which how the club is run. We're all told it's run like a business. I mean, to an extent, that is true. But ultimately, it's a football club. You know, it's not a business. Obviously, these Americans that have come over and obviously, you know, taken the reins and I guess taken the club out of the fans' hands in terms of, you know, the MGM that you know, that they were allowed to have. I don't know if that still happens or whatever. You know, where the trusts and stuff like that all, you know, get together. But
that might be gone, mate. I don't have to find out for definite, but I think that might be that might not be the case anymore. But
no, I mean, yeah, because I think it was like obviously when Stan took sole ownership of the club. I think that was one of the things that obviously, you know, went with that. And I'm not sure how long ago it was. Obviously, you know, when it was some way before that. When I guess this part of when Arsenal were up for sale and, you know, whatnot, and, you know, Stan and his kind of entourage and everything kind of come about. I said back then it was going to be the deepest, darkest day in Arsenal's history.
Yeah.
May not have been instantly, but now I believe, looking forward from back then, we're seeing those repercussions of, you know, someone who's not willing to put money in quite abundantly clear, made that obviously, you know, we have to spend what we earn. Fair enough. All right. You know, if that is the case, that's, you know, that's fine. It's all.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, maybe that's for another, you know, another video, you know, whatever we can, you know, sorry, just, I mean, you know, there's so much to talk about.
Get to that this season, but don't worry about that.
Yeah, no, there's so much to talk about, you know.
No, of course, definitely, man. We definitely do another show or something on any other content. Trust me, there's plenty out there. Do you get your score predictions for tomorrow, my friend?
Do you know what? I've thrown the scoreline around, you know, as you would have seen on my social media from like my Instagram stories and whatnot. I've thrown the scoreline around a lot, so I'm going to stick with Arsenal 2, Manchester United 1, because I believe we will concede. You know, I think I'm not saying that I mean that in the most respectful way, if that can come across like that. But, you know, I think we will concede because of our defence. Definitely been shored up, but not to an extent where we're confident and comfortable. We're still looking a little bit sort of ropey.
Yeah.
You know, and with their attacking prowess, absolutely. You know, it's quite frightening to say the least. Because realistically, if you want my realistic scoreline, it's going to come across probably not great on the video. But you know, I could see us possibly taking a battering with United's recent results, playing against, you know, obviously beating PSG and then beating RB Leipzig 5-0, just like them.
the thing is, you make. I'm going to cut. Sorry to cut in. You make.
That's cool. Yeah.
People might look at it and think, oh, you know, you're not being negative. You're being realistic, mate. Because I look at our last 2 fixtures against Man United away in recent years. Obviously, we got the 1-1 draw last season.
Yeah.
And we had the 2-2 draw the season before. Now we went into both them games. And if you speak to a lot of Man United fans, they was under the impression, you know what, the way the results have gone leading up into those 2 games, we're due to take a beating here from Arsenal for once, but we're still going to beat. No. And I think United going to this game, yes, you might look at United 15th in the league and Arsenal 11th or 12th, whatever it is. I think United are favourites going into this. I think my head tells me 2-2, but my heart tells me United 2-1. If you offered Mikel Arteta a point tomorrow and offered Arsenal fans a point tomorrow, they'd rip your hand off.
Easy, yeah. I think the point you make right there, definitely it's a game that we can't lose. If we do lose, it's like you mentioned, we've lost to City, Liverpool, Leicester, and United.
Social media is going to be peak, man.
I might have to be, I might have to hibernate.
But before we finish up, mate, I'm going to say, obviously, my content. I love my fantasy Premier League team. So if you do who was your captain pick for game week 7, mate? Do you remember?
Do you know what? I think I've got one a little bit left field. I think because I have a front three of, I think I know Aubameyang's in there, but I didn't pick him. But I think I picked Jamie Vardy.
Good shout. Yeah, it's one of my outs. I think that's one of my out. Was that one of my outside tips? No, because they've got Leeds have got Leicester on. I think is it Monday night? Is it? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will reveal my captain's pick for game week 7. So Arsenal fans, drop in the comments. You want to shoot me or cuss me, whatever. Went Harry Kane.
Oh man! To be fair, that's a safe shout.
Brighton goals, assists. That was my pick. Don't you guys have picks? Got your captains in, so yeah.
I mean, with him particularly at the moment, he's playing that kind of number 10 role. He's not playing there like sort of out and out striker. So he's added a little bit more to his game, becoming a bit more just of a less of a one-dimensional striker, more of a But that's for their their lot to debate. It is what it is.
Arsenal fans will forgive me, but listen, this is about points, man. Points win prizes, man.
So damn straight.
Ollie, mate, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining me, man.
Mate, always. But
I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, man. As there's so much more to come from the two of us. So
but before I let you go, Ollie, tell the guys where they can find you on your channel and where they can find you on social media, mate.
I mean, as you see on the screen right now, the socials are Arsenal Ollie 17, and the YouTube channel has just been rebranded as Arsenal Ollie, so without the 17. But we move. Yeah, that's
Check out Ollie's content, man. Get on board, man. Subscribe to the channel, like, share the content. You got my Twitter handle on the bottom, AUMO57, Albert JTV. So, guys, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. Ollie, it's over and out.
Nice one, man. In a bit.
Albert JTV.
# we move.